Hey everybody, it's Jody. This week has been really interesting because I'm on this kick about listening to audibles while I walk. So here, I'll just back up a week. I finally decided to be committed to walking. I used to do this a lot. Every morning I'd get up and go for a walk, and I have not done it for a long time. So the past 2 weeks I've gotten up every day between 5:45 and 6, and I'm going for a walk. I know that doesn't sound like much, but over time it will accumulate. I know it will. And being committed to something like that is a big deal for me right now. So the best part about the walk is not the walking, although that's great. It's listening to Audible. So I've listened twice through to a book on Audible called How Women Rise. And I've talked about this before, I know. This book has been so mind-altering for me because it's enlightened me on a whole bunch of things that used to bug me without me even really knowing it. So that's one thing, and I'll say more about that in a second. The other one I listened to yesterday was my favorite podcast today. Every day changes because I have favorites of everything the more I get to know new things. But my new favorite podcast right now is Mind Your Business by James Wedmore. And he talked to a guy named Alex Paulus yesterday. I think that's how you say his last name. And he was talking, Alex is an expert in taking personality assessment tests like the DISC and the Myers-Briggs and breaking them down, actually throwing them out and using his own process of biology and DNA-ish type things to just observe the way someone smiles, the way they walk, the way they hold themselves, their external observable behaviors, and kind of typing people, if you will, based on what he observes instead of what the test results say. Because the tests that you take, when I say tests, I mean the evaluations and the assessments that you take, I can manipulate them. Because sometimes, even though I don't want to admit it, I can alter the answers to what I think they should be or what I wish they were or what I want them to be. And so I have a tendency to not be completely honest when I take tests like that if I'm thinking contextually instead of the content. So the context would change, right? I'm different at home than I am at work. And so the results will change. But this guy, Alex, was able to type the people in James's office and other people that he worked with. And it was mind altering for people. They said, "How do you know that about me?" Oh my gosh, because he was able to get into the reality of people, not their perception of themselves. And so that got me thinking about how much I might have tried to be something I'm not to people on the outside so that they wouldn't see what I really believed on the inside, because I have never had very much self-confidence. It might be weird for me to say that and for people to hear that because I come across as being very confident to people, but I've struggled with self-confidence my whole life. A whole bunch of reasons why. Just understanding this podcast today gave me so much awareness on so many people that I can be observational about and not judgmental about. So the other book that I finished this weekend was Mary Trump's book about her uncle, the president. Again, more awareness of the reality of people's character and what people's character tells the world about him or her, even if we're trying to hide it. So what bothers me about people's character when they're trying to be something other than what they really are is that their words are incongruent with their reality. And sometimes you can take that the other way and you can say, but what they're saying might reveal the character, and we forgive that because we put blinders on and we don't see it. So when people say things like they call other people liars and cheaters and lowlifes, and make that be an example of the leadership that they're sharing with the world, that says something about the character of the person. And the character of the person is what I follow and am attracted to and interested in learning from, the character of the person. And for me, I'm just saying, for me, I overlook the results that that person produces because the character flaws, the character frequency disconnect is bigger to me than the results that can be produced. And this reminds me of a quote that Emerson, one of my favorite philosophers, Ralph Waldo Emerson, is supposed to have said. It's attributed to him, but I'm not sure it really was him. But the quote is, "What you do speaks so loudly, I cannot hear what you are saying." And so when the message somebody's delivering is incongruent with the body language, the rate, the speed, the pitch of the voice, the words get overridden. And so it works both ways, right? When people say things that are not the best worded, if the character of the person is shining through, we can overlook the words. But when the character of the person is speaking words that are negative and demeaning and hurtful, to me, I can't live with that incongruency. So here's another example we were just talking about tonight. Alexandria, or I can't even remember her last name, AOC, who is the congressperson from New York. And she got into that dialogue discussion with Ted Yolo. If you remember what I'm talking about, she really stood for herself when he attacked her. He attacked her verbally and said some really hurtful things, and she didn't come back and attack him. She showed her character, and she stood for what she believed in, and she was a great example of character. I'm not talking about politics right now. I'm not talking about political parties. I'm not talking about anything. Don't let the politics get in the way of the character in this conversation, okay, as you're listening to this, because I'm talking about character. Politics is a whole other matter. The way people treat each other is way more important to me than the results. The volume that they're talking about in business and in politics and in transactions is way less important to me than the value people can bring to an interaction. The relationship, to me, is as important, if not more important, than the transaction. And so I've had conversations all week about this distinction. And what I'm learning is, for me, character counts. Character counts. And if I think about character being how I will be in the world, my reputation will take care of itself, because if I take care of my character, I shouldn't have anything to worry about. People will talk about me. They will. People talk about people. That's what they do. But that's a character. That's character, right? People are showing their character by how they're being. And when people show their character by saying horrible things about people, they show their character. And I want to be around people who build people up, not who tear people down. And that's what I'm committed to bringing to the world. My destiny statement that I'm working on is creating conscious communities. And the way I'm doing that right now is through the Get Real Circle on Facebook. And I'd love to invite you to join us soon, very soon. There will be a course that I will be offering online called Real Me. Real Me. The Real is the acronym REAL, Radical, Energized, Authentic, and Learning Based. Real Me is a course about digging into who I am, me, my values, my character, who I know myself to be and who I am desiring to become. That course is going to be offered very soon, so watch for that. But until then, go to the Get Real Circle on Facebook, private Facebook page, where you can connect with people who are thinking the same way, being the same way. We have amazing conversations, and I'd love you to be part of that, because together we can transform people's experience of the world in religion, in education, in business, and yes, I believe even in politics and government. It can happen. I'm living in that possibility, and I'd love you to join me. Hope to see you there.